Call of Duty games have gotten to the point where they're basically the FPS version of Madden NFL. It's like this so that Activision can milk as much money as possible from the Call of Duty money train. So in this video, I'll be ranking the Call of Duty multiplayers from worst to best, and I've decided that I'd leave out the Warzone and Blackout experiences since those are battle royales. Modern Warfare 2 2022. This game will forever linger throughout the franchise like a wet fart in an elevator. I have so much hatred for this game because it's so awful in so many different ways. The gunsmith progression is a mess, the UI is clunky, the movement is slower, intense skill-based matchmaking, the perk system was stupid. If I didn't know any better, I'd assume the song 99 Problems was about Modern Warfare 2 2022. And some people might be like, oh well, those are tough fixes. What about the red dots on minimap? Ninja is a perk. There were various times where the developers could have literally done anything to fix this game, and they basically did dick the entire time. But you know what they did put in this game? Homelander, or various other cosmetics that had nothing to do with a Modern Warfare setting. Now granted, I personally don't care what you put into your game, even if it's in a Modern Warfare setting. I don't care how wacky it is. But when it's one thing in a long list of other problems that the developers just completely overlooked, it's just another thing that people can use against you. And it's not like that no one gave any of this feedback during the course of the year while this game was out. There are numerous videos, tweets, or X's, I don't know what it's called now, Reddit posts, detailing all the issues that are with Modern Warfare 2 2022. And guess what? Again, the developers did nothing with this. Instead, they just kept defending all their crappy decisions for this game, which clearly had such an awful post-launch that they had to release a brand new game that is nothing but DLC to fix all the messes that this game made. And here's the funny thing. A lot of the problems that are with this game I brought up when the game launched or was in beta, which resulted in me either getting death threats or L-take comments. Which is why I want to remind you one thing. These developers wouldn't even piss on you if you were on fire. There's no need for you to defend them, especially when a game literally looks like garbage. That's not to say I didn't learn anything from Modern Warfare 2 2022. One, I learned that Infinity Ward can't make a map worth shit. And two, this isn't the Infinity Ward that made the original Modern Warfare 2. I mean, I think I knew that for quite some time, but this was just like solidified this idea that they have no idea what they're doing. The original Modern Warfare 2 is Disneyland. Modern Warfare 2 2022 is Six Flags. Total garbage. Modern Warfare 2019.
Your savior is here!
Modern Warfare 2019 is not a Call of Duty game. It's a game that says it's a Call of Duty game, but is more like Insurgency or some other more realistic shooter that features an unrealistic movement system. You probably can't even name one good map from this game because every single map in the game was horrid. The gunsmith is still one of my least favorite features in any Call of Duty game. And before someone says the gunsmith is great, how many of those attachments are you really using? The color palette made things unseeable. The addition of doors, while it sounds like a really cool feature in a realistic first-person shooter, it allowed players to camp even more than they probably already were, and made some matches either too long or insufferable. I will praise the weapon and weapon designs and like the inspects, like animations for this game off the charts, are some of the best animations in any Call of Duty game. But I think the only reason this game was relevant was because of the name of the game, Warzone, and COVID. Anything else, like, this is just a trash game. And the campaign is the best thing this game had to offer. Don't at me. Infinite Warfare. This game will always be the Wish version of Black Ops 3. The movement felt clunkier, the weapons didn't feel as satisfying when you got kills. You also had supply drops, and you had that disgusting variant mechanic that either boosted some weapons' stats based off damage, accuracy, whatever it might be. You also did this for kill streaks similar to Advanced Warfare. This entire system was despised by the community, and you brought it back. Most of the maps weren't also that great. There was probably like one map that I found enjoyable out of the entire experience, DLC and the base game. The only thing that you actually had enjoyable that was actually, or any bit entertaining, was that little robot that was in the supply drop screen.
For you, top shelf. You're probably not looking for the bargain bin. Good day, fleshy mammals.
Actually, I lied. You also had that thing called Mission Teams. I didn't really explore it too much, but it seemed like it was a pretty interesting feature that probably should come back for future titles. You also had this crappy version of Specialist called Payloads, but no one really used any of the payloads outside of Synaptic. Black Ops 4. For a multiplayer-only game, this game is void of really any content, at least at launch. When the game launched, I ended up giving up on the game pretty early because I just went, this is all I have, and there really wasn't a lot. When you come back, it still feels somewhat void of content. Look, if you enjoy Black Ops 4, I'm not hating on you. It's not a bad game, it's just, again, void of content. It's just basically Black Ops 3 without the advanced movement, which is not a bad thing. But for being a multiplayer-only game, it needs to be judged harshly. Granted, this was also supposed to be some sort of, like, Overwatch clone, and then ended up just turning into this World at War.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
The game is just basically Call of Duty 4 with a World War II reskin. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it's also not a great thing either. There's nothing that really brings me into this game to really want to play it. There's no camo grind. A lot of the weapons aren't very satisfying to use, and a lot of the maps aren't great. Some of them feel a little too large or a little too tough to navigate. I mean, you were realistically playing this game just for the zombies. Black Ops Cold War. I get it, COVID, but there's really no excuse for this game to release the way it did. Like, Activision could have easily delayed this game. From my own experience, there were points where I really enjoyed the game. There were other points where I wanted to rip my console out of the wall and throw it on the freeway. The maps weren't that great except for the remasters that were sprinkled in. The gunplay wasn't great, and the overall movement just felt a little bit more clunky. Like, I feel like if they had time to work any of that stuff out, then I feel like the game would have been better. But again, COVID development. I've seen people rate this game in their top 10, but I never found this to be anywhere close to enjoyable. It's a game that I bet if it had more time to develop, I guarantee you that it would have been a very good game. But again, it was something that was just put together pretty quick, and through, again, COVID, and ended up looking like this. Ghosts. This game's multiplayer wasn't terrible, but it wasn't also some work of art. I enjoy the game's custom class system as it doubled as a prestige system, and the perk system in the game is still pretty interesting. Should they bring it back? No. The maps are pretty mid with a near 50-50 split of the good and the bad. The color palette screams, I shop at Hot Topic, which leads to a lot of bush and corner campers in the game. It's funny to go back to this game though, because if you check the DLC bundles in the game, you can find that the bundles featuring a calling card, camo, and a character skin cost roughly $4. But nowadays, you throw in a sticker and an emblem, woof, that'll be $30. Overall, Ghost isn't some sort of god-awful experience, but it's also not some sort of work of art. It does play like the original MW2 and MW3 games, which is great, but I've enjoyed others since then. But I guess the biggest pro of this game is the fact I can have Snoop Dogg as the voice announcer.
You got anywhere to hide these bags of weed? We need to hurry before the ops come. Wait!
Advanced Warfare. The first Exo Boost game in the franchise, dink and dunk your opponents like Tom Brady, buy supply drops and gamble your heart out, shout out T Martin, to get better weapons and variants. The maps in this game were okay. The BAL in ASM1 nearly made a man go insane.
So let's use the bell.
BAL is good! BAL is good! BAL is good! And stop! BAL is good! BAL is good! BAL is good!
The gambling mechanic was so disgusting that it led to some of the darkest points in the franchise, and the actual dink and dunk mechanics were cool but equally frustrating. Look, if I wanted to moss or get mossed by someone, I'd either play Madden or have been more athletic as a child. The guns were cool looking, but again, the BAL in ASM1 pretty much ran the entire show. I will also say the game's character customization was a really cool feature. I know it kind of led to some pretty intense memes by the franchise, but this was also just one of those less than stellar games. I will point out this game has objectively one of the worst DLC maps in Call of Duty history, Perplex, and I'll always be perplexed why this was even released into the game. I think this game brought an interesting movement system, but I feel as though other games just do it better. Black Ops 3. Vanguard.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Before the game launched, I raised some concerns with Vanguard, but then when the game launched, man, was this thing an absolute blast. Myself and many others seem to have referred to this game at one point as one of the best Call of Duty experiences to date, and then all of a sudden December and January hit, where the game basically took this massive nosedive due to bugs, imbalance, hackers, and the fucking Krampus event. Fuck! I'll be honest, I dragged this game through the mud, but here's the thing, I was wrong. I did find in some sort of enjoyment with Vanguard. The movement felt smoother, the maps were better, the gunplay was better, the color palette wasn't depressing. Vanguard was Modern Warfare 2019, but better. And by its final season, where they basically said, screw it, F-2000 and laser weapon in a World War II game, I feel like they finally put the game in a good place. Also, the game featured that Champion Hill thing, which is a great concept that pretty much received no updates at all. Vanguard was pretty underrated. Boom. Call of Duty 4. Respect the OG, but don't dick ride it. The game was innovative at the time, introducing a custom class system, kill streaks, and a multiplayer experience unlike any other. Even by today's standards, I think the game holds up pretty well and can be fun, minus, you know, all the hackers that are in the game. COD Mobile. Play Call of Duty on the go, literally. This game feels like what could be a super fun experience on consoles. It basically seems to have everything that Call of Duty fans have loved from previous titles, except for the game's cluttered UI, but it's also a mobile game, so pass. And for a mobile game, it plays plays very well, and you have plenty to do. I really wish something like this would just exist on console at some point, but I doubt it. You can find ways around this and just somehow download it on your PC, but I'm not going to tell you how to do that. You can find that out on your own, because I'm not getting sued. MWR. This is Call of Duty 4, but better. When MWR was bundled with Infinite Warfare to help sell copies, I figured, well, we're fucked. But instead, it was a vastly better experience than Infinite Warfare, full of nostalgia, not to mention they had tons of content to last the year until World War II dropped, featuring new weapons, camos, and other cosmetics. It also featured Graves, but not the version that looks like he was a trust fund baby. The game had supply drops, sure, but you also had the ability to build towards weapons or customizations you wanted through the depot credit system, which were earned from just simply playing the game or just getting duplicates from supply drops. With all the nostalgia, balanced micro DLC system, fun gameplay, and stunning graphics, MWR is a great experience. MW3 2023. This could age like Fergie's career, but this year's Modern Warfare 3 is great. Yes, it's DLC for Modern Warfare 2, but it basically fixes all the stupid ideas Modern Warfare 2 put into place. Movement, perk system, map voting, a game that shows some level of improvement based off fan feedback is definitely worth ranking higher in my opinion, especially when it's things that people have liked or been begging for to come back. The movement feels extremely smooth, the inclusion of remastered maps, while a cop-out, makes the multiplayer experience feel more fun. The two major complaints I have about this game is one of them being the challenge system, where you have to set some certain daily challenges to unlock weapons or equipments. I mean, that whole system's dumb. I actually literally had to explain this to a coworker the other day who had no idea what I was talking about. So clearly that idea didn't work. The other one is the gunsmith is fucking horrid. There is so much here, and yes, that in some cases that could be a great thing because you have so much variety, but again, I'm going to ask the same question I asked earlier. How many of these attachments are you really using? You're probably using the same attachments for nearly every single one of your weapons because that's how metas work. But I can't blame Sledgehammer Games when they apparently wanted to add some sort of pick 10 system. But unfortunately, Infinity Ward said no, assholes. I'd also imagine the post-launch content will make this game even more fun, but again, this could all age horribly. And no, I have not had any issues with the Reloaded Season 1. Seems like it just kind of affects Warzone more than anything else. I know they kind of fixed rank play, but I don't really care that much. I've enjoyed this game so far. MW3 2011. It's basically Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2, but balanced. Is that such a bad thing? That's amazing. It had a great DLC structure for the time that basically had maps come out every single month. That way you were never deprived of content. The gunplay and overall gameplay was equal to the original Modern Warfare 2, but there was one little complaint that I had, and it was that little thing called Last Stand.
Last Stand. Fuck you, Last Stand. No Last Stand. Fuck you, Last Stand.
And this has nothing to do with the overall multiplayer, but all the trailers for this game were incredible. I mean, you had the Jonah Hill and that one guy from the Avatar movie, and you also had trailers that featured that Rob Riggle guy who apparently served in the military.
Rob was a Marine. The few, the proud, which also describes his fans.
Black Ops 1. There's a lot of things this game did to improve over Modern Warfare 2's brokenness, and I think they do that very well. There was a point where I spent so much time in Black Ops 1, I would play this thing called Game Battles RIP, and I would work my ass off to get as many COD points as possible, that way I could unlock everything in the entire game. But that wasn't even the best part. The best part about this game was this thing called Wager Match, which allowed you to earn COD points and gamble some of your own COD points. That way, you could in turn, if you won, your match, you could get more COD points to spend on weapons, perks, or whatever. World War II. Waddle around and make new friends in the game's headquarters system. Complete contracts from the quartermaster to unlock more weapons, cosmetics, or XP. Or even you can just meet up with Le'Veon Bell before he became irrelevant. Look, World War II is a great Call of Duty game. Although weapons are super satisfying to use, the maps are extremely fun outside of Gustav Cannon. You have the aforementioned headquarters that was not only great to kill time, but it allowed you to 1v1 that obnoxious kid who was trash talking you earlier. A supply drop system that had been by far the most balanced it had ever been before. Sure, you could pay for them, but you could also earn them through contracts or operation. The game's war mode is a blast and by far better than Modern Warfare 3's war mode, though it did have some audio issues.
Bridge in progress. Building the bridge.
Stop underrating this game, it's an S-tier experience. Modern Warfare 2 2009. If you didn't play this game when it first launched, you missed out on one of the best Call of Duty experiences of all time. Was it a little broken? Yeah. Was it a little obnoxious getting sniped across the map on high rise? Yeah. Was it not very fun getting spawn tubed the minute you got into a game? Of course it wasn't fun. But even through all that awfulness, the game is still extremely fun, even to this day. And you can't even like fault the developers for all the different issues that this game had, because all of them left during the game's development and went to Respawn Entertainment. What was so great about this game was that it expanded on everything that Call of Duty 4 originally did. You had more camos, more attachments, more weapons, you had a better prestige system, you had more kill streaks. There was so much that was added to this game to be bigger, better, and more engaging than any current Call of Duty experience that, my god, like I miss 2009. Can I just go back? Black Ops 3. This game took the advanced movement system and made it 10 times better. You had the additions of wall running. You could use specialists that would help keep games more diverse. All the pre and post launch content was great. Even the weapons were extremely satisfying to use. The addition of auto bursts, while some might have found them frustrating, I loved using in every single one of my games. And sure, like the game did have a supply drop system and did have that weird, supply drop blackout whole thing that was going on at the time, but there was nothing more satisfying than getting a supply drop and rolling for one of the guns in the game and actually getting one of the guns in the game. Nothing can beat that feeling when you unlocked that weapon. It was a peak level experience. Black Ops 2, objectively the best Call of Duty multiplayer experience of all time. Some people be like, oh, that's cap. No. This is the best Call of Duty multiplayer experience ever. It had some of the best maps, the best weapons. The DLC maps are great. The Pick 10 system was one of the best additions we've ever seen in a Call of Duty title. The only downside to this entire multiplayer experience is the people that are hacking the game currently, and that one time that the entire community yelled at David Vonderhaar for nerfing the DSR. Sorry, Vondi. And that's it. Where would you rank each Call of Duty multiplayer experience from worst to best? I'd love to know what you have to say in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, great. Maybe consider leaving a like. If you didn't, well, it's not getting much better. But if you enjoyed it just enough, maybe consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and well, bye.